I saw and I'm sure many of you all have seen this on YouTube. I saw they had a little YouTube experiment where some folks took some black dolls, just like Clark did many years ago, and they had a black doll and a white doll. Did you all see that? Does any of you all see that? And these were young kids, like 4 or 5 years old. And they asked these kids, said, which doll is most beautiful? And they pointed to the white doll. And then they asked, which doll is ugly? They pointed to the black doll. And it was interesting. They asked the question, well, why is the white doll more beautiful? And this is because she's light or white. And then they asked the question, and they asked the question about why did you say that the other doll was ugly? And they said because she's dark. And then they asked the same question, same types of questions. They said, well, which one is smart and which one is dumb? And again, these are 4 and 5-year-olds. And, it struck me that the same experiments were conducted over 50 years ago. And it bothers me that that the same kinds of answers are being given today. And I said to myself that if that's happening with regard to 4 and 5-year-olds, what does that say? So today we've gathered together some just awesome folks, women, and I'm just so excited about it. I want you to understand. Somebody said, well, you're a man. Why are you doing this? I said, I'm also a father. I'm also a husband. I'm also a brother. And I'm also an uncle. And I got nieces all over the place. And so I just think it's very, very important that we do this. And so we brought together experts from across the country to engage in what promises to be a lively discussion on what exactly we need to do to help young black women succeed. Last year, I hosted a seminar session that focused on boys. We discussed issues that are facing them spiritually, emotionally, economically, and academically, and what we as adults need to do to step up to the plate to help them. There's an abundance of research and data on the plight of black boys, but the needs and the concerns of black girls have not been studied extensively. Having gone through the teenage years of 2 daughters, one 29 and one 15, my experiences have given me quite a bit of unscientific research about the challenges facing girls as they ascend into adulthood. I also know the magnitude of what our girls can accomplish if provided with a good foundation, solid direction, and loving support. During today's session, we will discuss strategies to help us raise successful daughters, and we will discuss the necessary components of the effective mentorship programs and how those programs might be replicated. We will also discuss the necessary components of effective mentorship programs that have been taking place for many, many years, and there are a lot of our mentorship folks right here in the room, and Susan Taylor she's going to address us in a few moments on that very issue of mentorship. And so I'm not here just to talk. I'm sure you're not here just to talk either, because we're tired of talking. I've often said that we can have motion, commotion, emotion, and no results. And so we got to get away from the emotional stuff and the motion. We need to deal with this issue with the urgency of now, because our daughters only have a certain amount of time to develop and become adult women. I often say that we have 2 paths in life. One is our destiny, the other is our development. And if we don't develop carefully and do it in a way that's meaningful, even if we reach our destiny, and many times we won't, But even if we reach it, we probably won't stay there. And so, despite the myriad of challenges facing black girls, they have proven to be survivors through their difficult experiences. Black girls often grow up to be heads of households, working at multiple jobs to make ends meet, and raising their children alone. Research suggests that this instinct for survival is cultivated in the womb. Studies have found that among the tiniest of premature infants, black baby girls are by far the most likely to survive. Among babies weighing only 2 pounds, black baby girls are fully twice as likely to live as white baby boys. This proves that from the very beginning, black girls are fighters. Hello, go on, give yourselves a hand. They are determined, as the saying goes, to make a way out of no way. And even with the dogged determination, black girls' struggles begin early and are often expressed in the classroom. At the elementary and secondary level, black girls face special challenges. Some research suggests that teachers tend to focus less on the academic performance of black girls than on their social decorum in an effort to promote what's thought of as ladylike behavior. Although much worthy attention and concern has been given to the level of school failure experienced by black boys, the data suggests that black girls also are in need of special attention. According to the U.S. Commerce Department, while black girls are indeed more likely to earn a high school diploma than their male counterparts, they still lag behind other girls in this area, as well as most non-black boys. Further, black girls continue to trail their female counterparts when it comes time for college enrollment. While their enrollment rates do surpass those of black boys by 6 percentage points, 63% to 57%, they trail behind those of white girls, 63% versus 74%. Yet, as black girls transition into adulthood, acquiring a college degree is especially critical to their overall economic well-being. In spite of having labor force participation rates that eclipse those of women from any other racial or ethnic group, it is black women who are most likely to live in poverty. However, black women with a 4-year degree earn fully 92% more than black women with only a high school diploma. Young people, did you hear what I said? Ladies and gentlemen, I could stand here day in, day out and tell you about these troubling statistics that illustrate the challenges that African American girls face. But as I said earlier, I want this forum to be about solutions. The good news is that there's hope, and that hope is very tangible. There's a proven paradigm that demonstrates success for black girls as they become adults. Girls who highly value spirituality and who have a mentor, that is a positive adult in their lives who may or may not be related to them, are more confident, do better in school, and get along better with family and friends. They're also less likely to succumb to peer pressure, to do drugs, or become sexually active at an early age. With that, let us today make a commitment to be about the business of creating the environments that will ensure our girls' success. Each of us in this room has the ability to change a young girl's life. And we can do that by mentoring and showing up and being a positive role model. Our young people yearn to have positive role models in their lives. I co-chair a young leadership organization called the Elijah Cummings Youth Program in Israel. We send youth in my district, all expenses paid, to Israel for a month and provide 2 years of extensive leadership training. I will tell you that when we ask our students what they need to be successful, invariably, the most common answer is that they need a mentor. They want an adult to rely on who looks like them and who's had experiences similar to their own and who can provide guidance and support as they ascend into adulthood. And ladies and gentlemen, I know you want to help. The good news is that we don't have to start from scratch to create an effective mentorship model. There are many mentoring organizations around the country that are doing phenomenal work to help our girls and young women succeed. Before leaving this forum, you will be armed with information about resources that exist across the country to structure mentoring opportunities and enable caring adults to connect with young people who need mentors. Today, you each received a call to action card, which provides a list of mentoring organizations and resource organizations to connect you with mentoring opportunities. I ask that you pledge today to become a mentor and to get your family and friends involved in the process. Your small commitment of time could drastically change a young woman's life for the better. It is my hope that you will answer the call to action and become the agent of change. Let me say this as I close, and I'm about to introduce my good friend Susan Taylor. There's a book that I would recommend to all of you. It's not about black women and girls. It's more about black boys. It's entitled The Other Westmore. And it's about two boys who grew up in Baltimore, where I'm from. And one goes to prison and gets life without parole. The other one, a Rhodes Scholar. As a matter of fact, he participated in our town hall meeting yesterday. But there's one on page 125 of that book. There is a piece that, Susan, I think about every day. I mean, constantly. The one who's a Rhodes Scholar goes to visit the one who's serving the life sentence. And he said, and both of them name is Westmore. That's why it's called The Other Westmore. And he said, Wes, I mean, tell me, man, explain this to me, man. Like, what they say is that we are the product of our environment. You believe that, man? And he said, the Westmore serving life in prison says, nah, man, I mean, the environment may have a little bit to do with it. But he said, I'm convinced that we are the product of our expectations and the expectations of others. That's what this is all about. It's that we are a product of our expectations, and that's why mentorship is so very, very important. We need folk to have high expectations of our children. We've got to do that. And so I didn't mean to get all pumped up, but this is so very important. And so the woman I'm about to introduce has definitely taken this call to action, and she has ran with it. No, she's been flying with it. She left the comfort zone of a highly successful publishing career to answer the call of helping to save our youth. There's not one time that I've ever heard Susan Taylor speak that I was not moved. Ms. Susan Taylor is the founder and CEO of the National Cares Mentoring Movement and editor-in-chief emeritus of Essence magazine. Susan is also co-founder of Future PAC, the first national political action committee devoted to providing a network of support and resources of funding for progressive African-American women seeking federal and state-level political offices. Her passion is the National Cares Mentoring Movement, which is a massive campaign to recruit 1 million able adults to help secure children who are in peril and losing ground. Not on our watch, she says, and I love that so much. Not on our watch. This is our watch. This is. We're here on Earth today, and we are the guardians. We must create a better world than the one we found when we were born. She goes on to say, I said the last part of that, but our children. Susan was looking at me and said, "Did I say that?" Children are the mothers and fathers of our tomorrows, and their future is in our hands. Before she comes to the stage, I want you to see a short film, and then the next voice that you will hear will be the distinguished and awesome Susan Taylor.
Well, those who had two parents in the household were able to move, but heroin just put a damper on that whole community, and I saw Coochie and Barbara and Dennis and Patsy, all of them fall. The most exquisite young woman who I grew up with, who was my next door neighbor, Patsy Seeley. She was so beautiful, she was so smart. The last time I saw her, I was speaking at a library in my community, and she showed up with a shopping cart The last time I heard about her, they were looking for her for the murder of her grandmother, who raised her, who she drowned in the bathtub. Drugs. You know, it's made us crazy. And all we need is us. You know, this is not so deep, because this is not the rough side of the mountain. Look at us. Look at how gorgeous you all are. Can all the young women who are high school and middle school and grammar school students please stand? Let us just honor you. Look at you with your exquisite selves. You know, we gather here today because, and this is not pointing the finger negatively at anyone, but an enlightened brother. It took an enlightened man to decide that we were going to focus on girls, an enlightened man. And I think it underscores that so many folks said to you, why are you focusing on girls? No one thrives if women aren't supported. No one thrives if females don't have the supports, the vision, the passion, the things they need, the food on the table, the roof over their head. I'm here because I'm married to one of the best men in the world. Keffy, stand up and let people see you. That's my beloved husband. But you know what I got to tell you? Before this husband, there was a has-been. There was one before him who was like, you know, sisters, let me tell you all. Let me tell the truth. Because what we don't do as adults, and you all can hear me talk at another time, you grown folks, this is for you. We don't tell the truth. We don't tell that, you know, we lost our way as kids. We made some wrong decisions. I'm here, but for the grace of God, I wouldn't even be here. Because I didn't feel loved in my household. My daddy, he was there, but he wasn't hugging me or loving me or telling me that I was strong. And I'm a love bug. I want to be hugged. I want to be kissed. That's who I am. As I'm walking through the halls, all the folks who read Essence, they think that they know me. I don't mind being hugged and kissed. That's who I am. But not with my parents. I grew up in a household with parents who didn't even touch. And you know what I began to do? Look for the love that I was hungering for outside of my apartment, in the streets of Harlem. And all those young boys who I invited to feel me up and hug me up, they weren't saying, come here, Susan. I was saying to them, come on, because I was hungering for love. And it's so important that we understand that our bodies belong to us. They're not public property. And that we have to learn how to love ourselves, and we have to know that we are enough. Any of you today who's not a virgin, become a virgin again. Just become a virgin again. Because you don't want to go back to your community. You don't want to go back to your school. You don't want to go back to your community. You don't want to go back to your college when you're in college. And look around and say, oop, that one knows me a little too well, and that one too. You don't want that to be your experience. And I'm here to tell you that there is no boy or man who ever left a female he cared about because she wouldn't have sex with him. I'm looking at the rise of AIDS in our community. It's not among our men, it's among us. It's among young black women in their 20s. Why? When the information is out there, when we know that AIDS, that having sex, unprotected sex, can kill us. So we did a study on this at Essence. It wasn't a scientific one, but what we found out was that girls were saying, and women were saying, you know, I let him sleep without a condom, have me without a condom, because he said he didn't want to wear one. Julian, because you know what, I love him, and I wanted to show him that I cared. You love him more than you love you? You're willing to have sex, unprotected sex that you know might kill you. That has all to do with us not loving and valuing ourselves. We have to know that we are more than enough. More than enough. We've been taught to hate our color. We've been taught to hate our hair. We've been taught to hate our big behinds. I wish I had a bigger one. You know? Skinny legs. That's what I have. I thought something was wrong with my legs. I was going to get implants in my legs. Can you believe that? Because my first husband would tease me, oh, you're skinny, blah, blah, you know. Well, maybe I should get some implants so I'd have some nice big calves. Because, you know, brothers like, can you imagine? It was a white doctor who said to me, oh, let me see your legs. And I pulled up my pants, and I showed my legs. And he said, oh, my God, my wife would kill for those legs, racehorse legs, long, skinny legs. I said, let me see my long, skinny legs differently. From that moment until this moment, you know what I think of having? Racehorse legs. That's what they are, racehorse legs. The most important thing is this, to learn. See, God makes no mistakes. We know that, right? God makes no mistakes. I wanted to be born to the people across the hall, or across the street when we moved to Queens. Because they were like, a real hot family, and they could stay up late, and they played cards. That wasn't what Babs and Lawrence, these old West Indians who had me when they were in their 40s and 50s, were doing. But they saved my life because I was a wild child. Wherever you are, whether you're being raised by mommy, daddy, surrogate parents, foster parents, I grew up in a foster household because my sister and 2 brothers were foster children. Everybody has a story. But you know what? Whomever you were born to and whatever that story is, it was sent to you for a reason. If I hadn't had early sexual experiences as a girl, I wouldn't be free enough to even speak to you about it. If I hadn't had a father who was really brutal, with me, I probably would have been more brutal with my own daughter. I knew how important it was to tell her that she was beautiful. I remember coming home I used to be the beauty editor at Essence for 10 years before I became the editor-in-chief. I was fashion and beauty editor. And one day, I picked up my daughter from nursery school, and I had a model in the car with me, and we were doing 3 ages of beauty: a light-skinned woman, a brown-skinned woman, and a chocolate beauty, right? My daughter, Shauna, was no older than maybe 3 years old, and she sat in the car behind this model who I was driving home. Essence at that time had no money, and we had to drive the people home, and we were changing clothes in restrooms, actually. And she did like this. She started just rubbing her long, wavy hair, and I said, oh, my God. You know what went up in Shauna's room the next day? Images of black people with big afros and full lips and noses as broad as the Nile. And every day I would say, ooh, look at that beautiful black man. Look at that beautiful black woman. There's nothing more beautiful than chocolate skin. This is what you have to say to yourself every single day. You can't believe the lie. There's a Eurocentric notion that drives what is beautiful and acceptable in this society, and it's a negation of us. That's one little ray of an incredible rainbow. What is it? How many of us on this planet? 6 billion people? No 2 of us look alike? No 2 grains of sand, blades of grass are the same? No 2 leaves? And what we do is say, only if you're light skinned and you got a little waist and you got a big behind and, and you got your breast, walking around with your breast out? An invitation to somebody on college campuses? Is that true, Dr. Malvo? It has occurred. Sister came to work like that one day. She was working in another magazine, came up to Essence. She wanted to intern with me, and she came, and I just said, oh, my darling, did you come on the train with your breast showing? You didn't do that at like 8 o'clock in the morning on the D train, did you? Well, my mother was trying to tell me. I'm saying, nobody's supposed to see that, baby. Nobody's supposed to see your breast, not even in the club at night. Just, a couple of quick things. Show your breasts, he's going to take you to bed. Absolutely, positively. This is what the brothers tell me. And not only brothers, this is men of every race, but I don't really want her to spend the night. I definitely don't want to see her in the morning. You're not the one he wants to raise his children. You're certainly not the one he's taken home to mother. There is no man who ever left a female because she wouldn't have sex with him. And my daughter would get so embarrassed when I would say this. We're animals, so we have a need, and it's a sexual need, and as you're growing up, those hormones are jumping. And I know that our Christian sisters and brothers take issue with this, take issue with it. If you gotta have it, do it to yourself. Learn how to do that. I say that to the brothers because brothers don't understand. You're in college. You're studying to be an architect. You're gonna be a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman. You're gonna have some resources. There are women out here who will say, I'm gonna get pregnant from him. That one right over there, because I'm going to get a paycheck now for the rest of my life, or at least for the next 18 years. I see it happen to I won't say my godson, but to my friends in the hip-hop community, one of whom you saw in that video, who I won't name. So there are people trying to get pregnant from men with resources. So men, boys, have to be very, very careful. When you have a child with somebody, that person is in your life for the rest of your life. My first husband, my baby is so sweet. He comes and has dinner with us on Thanksgiving. He's in my life. That marriage took place 40 years ago. He's in my life for the rest of my life because we have a child together. So at 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, you can make a judgment. You can make a decision for yourself that you pay for the rest of your life. So let me wind it up. What I'm saying, I am honored to be here. The rough side of the mountain has been navigated. All we have to do is climb a few hills. These beautiful girls will survive if those of you sitting on this side of the room are in our right minds. If we tithe an hour of our time every week, that's all we're asking. We're not asking you to be anybody's mama. We're not asking you to have somebody move in your home. We're asking you only to tithe an hour of your time to an existing mentoring organization. Here's what the National Cares Mentoring Movement does. We collect, we connect, and we direct. We collect mentors, we connect with you, and then we direct you to where you're needed. Dr. Lorraine Cole was the president and CEO, stand up and let people see you, of the YWCA. She was our partner. So what we're doing is collecting girls, connecting mentors, sending them to the Ys, sending them to the Girl Scouts, sending them to Big Brothers Big Sisters, sending them to detention, organizations, juvenile detention homes, sending them to reentry programs that don't have mentoring programs. Some of us are wont to sit with youngsters who come out of incarceration and who have felony charges. But for the grace of God, would have been me. You all know you'd say the same thing. But for the grace of God, it could have been you. That somebody who shouldn't have been in your life, you were in the car when they had some drugs or even a stick of marijuana. Before you know it, you're in the joint with a record and can't get a job. But for the grace of God, thank you for sparing me. So what I'm saying is that all we need to do, connect with us. We have some of our CARES leaders here. Barbara Perkins, Los Angeles CARES. Stand and let people see you, please. Is Roxana Bilal here? She's always here. Anybody else from the CARES organizations here in the room? Some of our CARES. Our CARES. Sacramento CARES is here. Baltimore CARES is here. Philadelphia CARES. That's all we're doing. We are collecting mentors, connecting with them, and then directing them to where we are needed. And so what is the last thing that I want to say? Having a relationship with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit doesn't live in the church or the mosque or the temple. You are the temple. You are the mosque. You are the church. The Holy Spirit is the breath of life in you. It's the breath of life in you. So if you're looking for God, be still, be quiet, and listen in. Every day, the wisest thing I know is this, two things. You have to give yourself to yourself before you give yourself away. You can't leap out of bed and into Congress. You can't leap out of bed and into school. You can't leap out of bed and into the world. You girls are walking through the streets with your book bags, and you have grown men who could be your grandfather calling you out of your name. We have lost our minds, and we've lost our way. What I'm working on with the National Cares Mentoring Movement is another initiative to reculture us. I just sent you a document through Trudy that I hope you will look at, to reculture us. So we'll begin to see ourselves differently. So we'll begin to love our chocolateness, whether we're black as night or white as snow. We be everybody. We're the rainbow people. And God makes no mistakes. How dare we? How dare we put down one somebody because, and you girls stop it. Just stop it. Because the fights on college campuses I'm hearing from my friends who are college presidents is that there's more anger and bitterness and fighting among the females on campus than there are among the males. Come on, now I don't know if Dr. Malvo would, well, you don't have males on your campus. But we have to stop. When somebody's getting ready to beat up on a girl, no, we're not going to do that. Talking about her, no, we're not going to do that. Because every time you spend time talking about she thinks she this and look at her and blah, 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 and she think, what you're doing, you should have a book open. What do you say, Dr. Malvo? I'm going to leave it with you. When you're tired, read. When you're what? When you're angry, read. When you get ready to cuss somebody out, read. When you're sad, read. Because we're saying grow. Women, you have to know how to control your dollars. Don't be buying all that garbage, all that stuff to dress up to look cute for somebody. I'm a repeat performer. I was here last year probably in the same jacket. It's not about style. It's about substance. And you know what? We become vulnerable when we don't have money. So our girls have to learn how to count. These are all the things we want to build into you and that really you will have when you have a mentor in your life. So just stand strong every day. Carry your own head. That means you stop and you think and you pause. Is this the right thing I should be doing right now? And then the other thing I want to share with you is forgive everybody who ever hurt you. Some of us were raised by crazy people. There are some people who are parents who have no business being anybody's parents. Not every teacher is loving. Not every neighbor is kind. Not every grandmother or grandfather is a good person or a whole person. And this is what I know, hurt people hurt people. So anybody who's hurting you is hurting him or herself. So don't look at people's pain, or don't look at their behavior, rather. Look at their pain and move on. It's not about you, it's about them. Maya Angelou taught me that. That it's not about you. What you have to be about is your relationship with God. Not whether somebody said this about you and, what, you end up in jail because, you attacked her and you happen to have a knife or she. Not your story. Learn to love you, learn to love what God made, and pour every good thing into your life. I love you. I thank you for inviting me to be with you today. I really do. Thank you.
Give her a hand. I don't know about y'all, but I feel the spirit up in this place. All we need is a little choir. We are just beginning. Let me just say this before I introduce our panel. At around 3 o'clock, we're going to be blessed to have with us Ms. Valerie Jarrett, who's a senior advisor to President Obama. She's going to be stopping by because she has spent a lot of time addressing the development of girls. So she wants to just speak with us for a short period of time. We have a powerful panel of experts. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you. That was just powerful. We have a great panel of experts with us today to discuss why mentoring is so important and how it has helped them in their lives and what we all can do right now, not tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow, but right now, to help young people achieve the success that these individuals have achieved. To moderate our panel, we have a woman who has been a strong advocate for young girls for over 20 years. Michelle is a wife, and she's a wife to a strong brother. Oh, he's a strong brother now. He's over there with the camera, Lamar Shields. And the both of them have made it their business to be about the business of lifting up our children. She's a mother and a sought-after comedian. She has appeared on Nickelodeon's Search for the Funniest Mom in America, hosted by Roseanne Barr. BT's News presents Journey to the White House, the Barack Obama story, as well as BT's Comic View. Michelle is a former doctoral level student, having completed 3 years of doctoral work as she trained towards becoming a school psychologist. She most recently authored a book entitled 101 Things Every Girl and Young Woman of Color Should Know. And by the way, she don't mind y'all buying a copy. You might want to have it as a Thanksgiving present. It's a Christmas present. Michelle is also currently a finalist to receive an Open Society Institute Fellowship where she plans to teach young girls about their ancestry. Give her a hand. And then I'm just going to sit back, and as I tell my daughter, as you come up here, I got to say this. I'm just going to sit back and listen. But I said to my oldest daughter, and I mentioned this on the radio the other day, and she's 29 years old, and we have a very strong relationship. And I said, baby, I'm a man. And I said, I don't fully understand what it is, what this relationship between father and daughter really means. I don't understand it. She said, Daddy, a tear came to her eyes. She said, Daddy, if you only knew. She said, if I spent the next 10 months, I cannot explain to you how important it is. And so I say that to say that sometimes I have to just sit back and listen. If y'all don't mind me being a spot on the wall, just listen to y'all talk, because I want to be helped too. As a man, I want to know what it takes to. I got a 15-year-old, I was telling Michelle, 15-year-old going on 30. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. And I just want to be helped myself. And I'm glad that all the brothers who are in the house, glad to have you all. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Congressman. Please, one more time for Congressman Elijah Cummings, Miss Susan Taylor. I will be... Please, this is church. If you got an empty seat, raise your hand. Raise your hand. The ushers will guide you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You always got to say hallelujah when you're trying to get people to move. Hallelujah. Oh, he's worthy. We ain't talking about Jesus. We just say hallelujah. Move. If you got a seat, raise your hand. Hallelujah. Then you got to say this, I can't get no help. I don't know why you can't get no help in church. But I am humbled. Please take a seat. Those of you who are on the wall, please get comfortable because our girls they are our promise, not just for the future, but for right now. And I am humbly grateful to be here today. Grateful that Congressman Cummings saw fit to let a little girl from West Baltimore, home of The Wire, be here to moderate this amazing panel. I'd like to introduce the panelists, if you all don't mind. I'm very humbled that they chose and saw it not robbery to be here today to speak to some solutions about girls. We're not going to sit here and talk about, well, you know, her mother ain't right. Ain't none of us right. At the end of the day, all of us have special needs. Everybody in here need an IEP. Everybody in here need an individual educational program. Everybody. From the womb to the tomb, you need your IEP, and you need to be going in and get evaluated regularly. But I digress. We'd like to introduce our panel today. Again, Dr. Julian Malvo, who is the president of Bennett College, the last two same-gender colleges for African-American girls. Bennett College for Women in North Carolina. Dr. Julian Malvo. We thank God for you, Dr. Malvo.
Thank you.
Spelman College and Bennett College are the only two, the Bells, the Bennett Bells. And to her right, we're so excited to have her here as well. We found out that we have so many parallels, it ain't even funny. 3 babies, almost 11 years of marriage for you. You coming up on 14?
15.
15 years of marriage for Malak, but more than the babies and the marriage, our goal is to always look like the girlfriend. Yes. We like to keep it tight in the waist and cute in the face. That is our endeavor. The girlfriend gets to go out. The wife is home scraping macaroni and cheese off a plate. So our intention, I can't get no help. Our intention, I ain't got no witnesses in here. I don't care how you got to keep it tight in the waist, body magic, body tragic, Spanx, girdle, whatever they selling. You got to look like the girlfriend. That's why Susan is out right now, because she look like the girlfriend. That's why Kepler is right behind her, because he don't want nobody else trying to pick up his girlfriend. Hallelujah. I don't know why I said hallelujah. We ain't even in church. But Malak has done amazing work with girls and women of color. And while I make light of us looking like the girlfriend, I'm very privileged and very excited to have you on this panel today, Malak. Malak is doing amazing work in Brooklyn and around the country with the Angel Rock Project. She happens to be married to somebody we know, but we're not talking about him today. We're talking about the work of Miss Malak Compton Rock, the wife of Chris Rock. Oh, now y'all want to be like, oh. See, it wasn't good enough that she was working with your babies. Now you're like, oh, she married to Chris. Like y'all know Chris. Oh, did you hear that, Malak? Oh. Well, hallelujah. Pass the plate. Let's get a tithe going. But Malak, in her own right, has had an amazing career doing outstanding work, impacting the lives of girls and women of color, and currently is a new author. I'm very excited because I'm a new author, too. That's another parallel, Malak. That's another parallel. Malak has the book. I'm getting Malak's book. Malak's book is, now you heard Hillary Clinton get an award for the speech, If It Takes a Village. Malak said, we're not going to make no speeches. We're going to write a treatise. If it takes a village, then what? Then build one. That's Malak's book. If it takes a village, build one. And the foreword is done by Mrs. Marion Edelman Wright, founder of the Children's Defense Fund. So we are so excited to have Malak Compton Rock here today. Thank you for joining us. And to her right, it just gets better and better. To her right, you guys may or may not have seen her on The View lately. This is Dr. Rovenia, also known as Dr. Rowe, Dr. Rovenia Brock. Dr. Rowe is an award-winning nutritionist. Dr. Rowe is the founder of Fit Kids, you know, that initiative to get our young people moving so that we can have a better quality of life. Dr. Rowe has created Fit Kids, and Dr. Rowe has also spearheaded the lifestyle change. I don't want to say weight loss, because it's not about weight loss. It's about lifestyle changes. Dr. Rowe has spearheaded the lifestyle change for Miss Sherry Shepard, one of the members of The View. So if you've seen Sherry decrease in size, Dr. Rowe has been a part of that, teaching her how to live healthier. So we welcome you, Dr. Rowe. Thank you for being here, a Howard University alumni. So is Malak Compton Rock, a Howard University alumni. And I say that because the last sister on the panel may be the youngest sister on the panel, but she's also one of the rising stars at Howard University. And we have another Howard University. Congressman Cummings said, you got to tell people I graduated too. I went to Howard. Okay. We hope you have a degree, Congressman. We hope you're sitting on something. He said, I'm leaving on the everlasting arms. We need more, a little bit more from you, Congressman. But to Dr. Rowe's right, a student activist at Howard University, working with the freshmen there, a junior at Howard University, and she's doing amazing work helping get the girls from freshman to senior year. A junior herself, a Dean's List junior, if you will. And I can say this. I'd like to point this out, and she may get a tad bit embarrassed, but I say it with a lot of pride. This happens to be my mother's first granddaughter. Y'all so slow. I don't have time. No, but more importantly, celebrating being a virgin at 20 years old. Hallelujah. Celebrating virginity. Celebrating virginity at 20 years old. I said, girl, if I only knew what you knew at 20. And so today we're going to have every spectrum here to address solutions that we're using. Before we go any further, Congressman Cummings did make he alluded to my husband, but I would like to just let you all see what I get to roll over and look at. Hallelujah. I want to thank him for all 3 babies, but I just want to give a good shout out for the anointed woman of God who came to babysit, hallelujah, for the mother-in-law from Chicago. Please, you all, last year he wrote 101 Things Every Boy and Young Man of Color Should Know, and there was an amazing documentary based on that, and he's doing amazing work through Hopkins and the Urban Leadership Institute. My husband and my baby daddy, Lamar Darnell Shields. With the nice teeth, nice straight teeth, direct deposit. Y'all so slow, direct deposit, hallelujah. And benefits, we're gonna keep it moving. I can't get no help. Y'all mad we got direct deposit? Because I don't have direct deposit. I need some benefits. And before we go any further, the woman who carried me for 40 weeks as a teen mother was just 17 years old when I was born. And I asked her, how did you manage to get my sister and I, not just from West Baltimore, but to the doors of college campuses and have us graduate both from Bowie State University, BSU. Coming from a family of 9, she's the oldest daughter of 9 to my grandparents and was the first one to have children. I was the second daughter. She was 17. I said, Mommy, how did you do it? She said, there was a magazine that came out that taught me that there were other women who were doing amazing things. And she virtually got mentored by Essence Magazine. My mother, Annette Bowling, could you please stand? She said she read every issue. She read every issue. And in every issue, there was a strategy to help a teen mother get from a teen mother to a grown woman to raise grown, mature, sober, spiritually filled women. And I lied to you not. I told you about it years ago, Susan, when we were on Pantene Total You together. I said, my mother said Essence helped raise me and my sister, who's 2 years older than me. So I thank God for Essence, and I thank God for my mother, Annette Bowling, who didn't see it robbery to birth me at 17 in the 70s. Thank you so much. Mommy, I love you so much. And thank you for the brand new husband. Hallelujah. With the health benefits. So today we want to talk candidly about strategies. I'm one of those folks, while I use comedy as a way to gauge some things, I honestly believe, and I want to tiptoe on what Congressman Cummings said, that we do not stay real with young girls. We all get selective amnesia. about the things that we went through. So I want to jump right in and ask a question so that we can be candid with these girls that are sitting here. All the girls who traveled to be here with us today, we saw you, but stand up one more time if you traveled to come be with us today. Ideal Academy Charter School, Baltimore Freedom Academy, Studio A. My girls right there. Bennett College of Women came in. Carver Votech, have a seat. Carver Votech is here. City College is here. We reached out to schools because we said this is a conversation that is not a conversation without you. Without you. So the question becomes, I'm going to raise this to each of you to answer this briefly. What do you believe are the components of an effective mentoring program? You know, please discuss it from your point of view, from your area expertise. What do you all believe is the successful component of a good mentoring program, And we're going to start right here with Dr. Malvo. Could you just let us know, what do you think is effective for a mentoring program?
Okay, thank you so much, my sister. You are hilarious, and we appreciate that. And I want to, of course, bring greetings from Bennett College for Women. We are the oasis where we educate and celebrate women and develop them into 21st century leaders and global thinkers. Bennett in the house with my students. Please stand. Dr. Stanley Viltz and my chief of staff, Dr. James Dixon. I want you high school students to go talk to a Bennett student. There's some outstanding young women here. I'm not going to call all the names because somebody's going to get mad, but Miss Carmen Smith was our chaplain last year and was one of our leaders in journalism and media studies.
Hallelujah.
Miss Erica Harris from Jacksonville, Florida, has been doing really, really great work. All of our students are outstanding, and it's a privilege and an honor to have the opportunity to lead Bennett College for Women. Again, sisters, thank you for being here. While I'm shouting out, y'all can sit down now. While I'm shouting out, the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center is also here. Are the students from the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center, the young ladies from Southeast Washington, D.C., and their mentors, Tamika Holloway, Janice, please stand. Before I went to Bennett College for Women, I'm the treasurer of the Recreation Wish List, which sponsors the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center. So mentoring and working with girls has always been a part of my life. Before I went to Bennett, these young ladies were part of my life and part of my sewing. And when you ask what it takes to be an effective mentor, what you need to have an effective mentoring program, you need to be willing to be open. You really need to be willing to have conversations that may be uncomfortable. Because people ask you to mentor them because they see something in you that they want to see reflected in themselves. With a young person, I think the highest form of flattery is when someone, a sister today, she's almost my age, and she said, you know, I think I want to be a college president. Would you be my mentor? And I found that she's someone that I've admired from afar, so I found that very humbling that she would say that. But then it immediately caused me to say, what is it that she sees in me that she wants to emulate, and am I willing to share that with her? Am I willing to be as transparent as possible? I appreciate what Sue said and what our congressman said. We just had Bill Cosby at Bennett, and the students will attest to the fact that at some point he got a little raw. He told our students that the vibrator would not call you at 3 in the morning, that there would be no booty calls with the vibrator. And one of my alums was sitting in the back, and you could see her eyebrow going up. Understand that Bennett women wear hats and gloves and are very proper. And so as the eyebrow was going up, I said, oh, I'm going to hear it tonight. And sure enough, Sister called me, she said in her very reedy old lady voice, Dr. Malvo, Cosby was very nice, but did you have to let him? I said, I let Cosby. I just told him, I said, brother, please be mindful that you'll be speaking in the chapel. And so, please be mindful of the situation. But the point is that he was willing to say something that brothers don't often say to women. Right. Coming from the Essence Music Festival, there was a sister, and I've told the students, everybody has a pair of breasts. Yeah, everybody has a pair of breasts, male, female, so you don't have to show them. They're not that unique. Everybody has some. If you don't have any, you have a birth defect. Now, they may not be big ones. They may be medium-sized ones, even little ones, but everybody has some. So we just have to be clear about how we have these kind of conversations. And I think, as Sue said, clear about regrets. I think that as seasoned women, we could all walk around. Terry Williams probably says it best when she talks about how we put on our game face. So we could probably all walk around looking like we got it going on, and we all do look like we got it going on, which is a good thing. But everybody on this panel, if they're honest, will tell you about the night they cried, about the disappointment, about the one that got away, about the experience they wish they hadn't had, about the time they may have had a little too much to eat, drink, ingest.
Is this a testimony, Dr. Malvo?
No. No, I'm just saying, but it could be. But it could be. Been there. I mean, I'm like Sue, but for the grace, I was one of those baby Panthers. See, the only thing that saved me from a whole lot of trouble is my mother used to come to Panther headquarters with bunny rabbit slippers on. So if you ever want to get embarrassed, let your mama come get you. You think you're going to be a revolutionary, and here comes your mama with pink rollers and bunny rabbit slippers as you try to plan the revolution. You know, in a cab, and say, "Where are the Malvo children?" And my brother and I walked out like this. It wasn't us. We're not the Malvo children. They're still in there. So she said, "You can do your political work, but you will be back in my house at 9 o'clock at night. If you can't find your way to a cab, I'll come get you." At the pink rollers and the bunny, it was so embarrassing.
But you never forgot it, Dr. Malvo.
Well, not only that, and I never went to jail. And there were a lot of other people, I could call their names, we got caught up in that revolutionary activity, you know. So, no, we have all made mistakes.
That's right.
And we all have a testimony. But the effective mentorship is about being willing to share that, being willing to be transparent.
Absolutely.
On our campus, the other thing that we do, we have a goal, and Dr. Stanley Bills is our Associate Provost of Student Affairs. Make sure that every young woman has a mentor.
Right.
And sometimes there's some challenges. Everybody, we had a great panel this morning, the sisters did, that talked about Sojourner Truth. Everybody is not here to be your mentor. So little sisters, if you approach somebody and it doesn't work, approach somebody else.
Keep it moving.
It doesn't mean
That's right.
The conclusion is not all these old sisters don't want to see me get ahead. The conclusion is that old sister had a bad day,
Right.
or bad experience, or quite frankly, she didn't flow with you. But guess what? Everybody is not going to flow with you.
That's right.
And so basically, young ladies have to say what they want, and we, seasoned sisters, not the old ones, seasoned.
Heavy on the season.
And we're not meat either. So, but, seasoning. But those
Malvo,
of us
that's
who have been
outstanding.
around, those of us who've been around the block a few times have to be willing also to reach out.
Thank you so
Mentoring
much.
is one of the most important things, and Susan Taylor had been a mentor to me, Marsha Ann Gillespie. I mean, I could call the roll. I've been so blessed and highly favored. Dr. Dorothy Irene Height,
My God.
probably one of the only people in the universe.
You guys should be clapping just when you hear that name.
No.
If you're not clapping, then you should go Google Dr. Dr. Height. Dorothy Irene Height. You should be Googling her if you don't know.
Probably the only human being in the United States who could call me on my stuff except my mom. And Dr. Height will call you about 6 and what, Miss Malvo?
That's all right.
I saw you on CNN yesterday. Did you have to say that?
That's all right.
And I said, yes, ma'am.
Well,
and then she said, are you sure you had to say it that way? Very gentle, didn't raise her voice. And then when she was finished, click, because she also didn't say goodbye.
Well, I'm going to click right now, Dr.
Take care of
Malvo.
business. Click. Okay. Click. All right. It's your world.
The ancestor just came through me and told me to click.
No, the ancestor didn't tell you that, sister, but I'm going to let you have that.
But we want to thank you so much, Dr. Malvo, for that. Being real and being transparent is what Dr. Malvo says is the essence of a good mentor. Let's hear from you, Malak, real quick about a good mentoring program, and I want to pose another question.
Okay, sure.
What's effective mentoring look like?
Good afternoon, everybody. I am so pleased to be here in church today. This is fantastic. Well, I must tell you that mentoring changed the trajectory of my life. When I was here in D.C. and a college student at Howard and didn't quite know what I wanted to be when I grew up, I was reading Essence magazine and read an article on someone that you just brought up, Terry Williams, and read about this phenomenal woman who was a social worker by trade but had decided to go in the public relations field, and her first clients were Miles Davis and Eddie Murphy. And I said, my goodness, this is somebody that I want to know. Now, I'm a college student at Howard University living in the dorms, but I wrote her a letter. And one night, after midnight, my phone rang, and Terry Williams was on the phone.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And she said to me, tell me why you want to be in public relations. And I sat and had a 2-hour conversation with her. The next week, I was on the train in my one good suit up to New York to meet her. And she offered me an internship, and again, changed the trajectory of my life. So mentoring is very special to me because someone took the time. So what is effective? Accepting the role to be a mentor. And then once you accept the role, to be there and be present. And Terry has been present in my life ever since. Every endeavor that I go on, like leaving the entertainment industry and going into nonprofit, Terry has been there for me. Right now, I run a program called Journey for Change, empowering youth through global service for children in Brooklyn. We work in Bushwick, Brooklyn, Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, Bed-Stuys in the house, and Brownsville. 3 very, what you would call at-risk neighborhoods, just, struggling with gang violence and drug abuse and single parent and incarcerated daddies. Brownsville, unfortunately, in August, has the distinction of having more gun violence shootings and deaths in the month of August than any other neighborhood in this country. And that's where our kids come from. And we do 4 major things with them. We provide opportunities to travel internationally to kids who were defining themselves by their 3-block radius of their neighborhood and taking them to South Africa where they can serve. That's the second thing, to serve. Putting kids who have been on the receiving end of aid on the giving end of service so that they know exactly what they have to give and how wonderful it feels to give back. Service, I do believe, is the rent we pay for living. The third thing is for them to understand when they see third world poverty, all the blessings that they actually have in those neighborhoods and the inherent blessings that we have in the United States, and to take advantage of them, i.e. their education. The access that they have, the human rights access that they have to a quality education. And thirdly, we turn them into advocates. We want them to talk about critical issues that affect them in their neighborhoods and affect them around the world. So if they want to write a blog about child slavery or human trafficking or the environment or gang violence in their community, letting them understand that they have a critical voice and that they should use it. So that's Journey for Change. But what I think makes the program really special is that we also partner them with college-age mentors from colleges around New York City, Medgar Evers, Pratt Institute, and NYU. And those college mentors come with us to South Africa, and they act as chaperones while we're in South Africa, but for a year, we sign them to a contract to be a mentor to that child, to help them understand and access what they need to do to get into college like they are, and also career opportunities. So again, what I really think is, number 1, you have to show up and accept the role. And number 2, you need to spend quality time with that mentee.
Thank you so much, Malak. And that was just a great way of really personalizing the mentor-mentee relationship and how it can affect your life. I want to shift gears for a second and speak to our other 2 panelists. I want you to, Jasmine, if you can, what role does peer pressure play in education, relationships? I'm talking positively and negatively. What role does peer pressure play? And you're on Howard's campus and you've been to school. Tell us, in your opinion, what role does peer pressure play?
Okay. Can everyone hear me? No, I think your mic is on.
Move it a little closer, Jazz. Thanks.
Hello? No. Can you reach this one?
Jasmine, you have a very big mouth. You can just speak real loud.
I know. I can yell if everyone needs me to. That's that peasantry. All right. Well, first, I wanted to say it feels really good to be up here with so many bison. At first, I was a little nervous, but now everything's feeling a little bit better since I'm near family. But peer pressure is definitely something that is still on college campuses, and I know many high school girls and many middle school girls will definitely bear the burden of that. But the thing about peer pressure that I would recommend is that you really have to know yourself, and you really have to have a strong mindset. And it may be really, really hard for someone young to understand that, but that's why you do need those mentors in your life who can lead by example, who can show you without even telling you that this is the way you should be and this is what you should be doing, because peer pressure will come, and sometimes it'll be the easiest thing to succumb to, and then other times it'll be the hardest thing. And what I had to do was basically, I guess I've just been blessed to have such great, strong figures in my life, from my 2 fathers, hence my 2 last names, and my mother and my role models, is that I never really had to face peer pressure like that. I guess I'm an individual. I never said yes. I always had my own mindset. I do things my way. I play my own drum. And I thank my mentors and everybody for doing that. But definitely learn who yourself is and learn what it is that you want to do and what you don't want to do. And don't let anybody force you to do anything. you can tell them, you can have an attitude all you want. You can be like, you can do whatever you like, but I'm not going to do this. I'm fine. Thank you. See you later. And the real friends that you make peer pressure won't be an issue, honestly. My friends, my real friends, my true friends, the one that has been there and helped me, peer pressure isn't even an issue. And even on college campuses, I know 24-year-olds who still succumb to peer pressure, and that's just idiotic.
And 24-year-olds is old. That's really old.
No, not that it's really old, but you would think a 24-year-old had a little bit more together than that. But it's always going to be here, so learn how to deal with it now and learn yourself now so that you won't have to worry about any of that peer pressure.
Thank you, Jasmine. Learn yourself now. Moving forward, Dr. Rowe, you know, you are a nutritionist and you pride yourself on living a healthy lifestyle. You've created Fit Kids. What exactly do you believe is the biggest challenge about health and wellness with our girls and women of color? Because we're up there in numbers and health disparities. We are rock stars in health disparities. So, you know, how come it's such a challenge for us to grasp that if you live healthier, you live better?
It's a dubious distinction that we are rock stars in, you know, health challenges, as you put it. The first thing I want to say is that I helped Sherry Shepherd last year, but right now I'm on the Dr. Oz show working to get America healthy.
Get it. That's good. That's awesome. Congratulations, Dr. Rowe.
And what we are doing is a national movement. This is not a program. It's not an initiative. This is big. This is a national movement to get America healthy just 10 pounds at a time. It is called Just 10. And so the health benefits from losing just 10 pounds, if you have them to lose, go from your head to your feet. And I do mean quite literally. You know, you can think better, your cognitive ability is increased with a 10-pound weight loss. Joints, bones, that the aches and pains come from when young people bend over and can barely pick up something off the floor as though they were 80 years old. You can fix that with a 10-pound weight loss. Your heart, your kidneys, your liver, everything works better with a 10-pound weight loss. No swelling in feet and legs and extremities with a 10-pound weight loss. What I'm saying to you is that you can literally save your life with just 10 pounds. So I want you to follow me on this. I want you to follow me on this because you probably have heard that over 2/3 of America is overweight or obese. Yes? Amen. We in church. Okay, now if you put two black women in a room, one of us will be overweight or obese. That means 50% of us. However, again, this is not a black problem. This is an American problem. We are not a problem people, just a people with a few problems, all that can be worked out, okay? This is an American problem because over 2/3 of the country faces it. So, but the problem for us is we have a culture that says to us we are not attractive as women unless we have a little meat on our bones, okay? I would say to you, though, at the point that having a little meat on your bones means you end up in the ER, that's the emergency room, prematurely, that you are bowled over suffering from heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and then some, we need to rethink that, okay? We can have our curves without the rolls, amen? So we've got to get to the point where we love ourselves enough to take care of ourselves. You know, self-esteem has been talked about, and God knows it is a huge, huge problem. And not just with black girls, it's a big problem with the black community, period, right? But without your health, you got nothing. You really have nothing. There's no wealth without health because you could have all the money in the world, but if you can't get around to enjoy life, you can't really spend it. Can't enjoy it. And so I'm the sounding board and the shoulder to lean on to help you get it together such that we can take better care of ourselves. Now, one of the things that the old heads in this room know is that as women, we are the nurturers of society. That is literally the role that women play. And so what that means is that you take care of everyone but yourselves. What I want to say to you, young sisters, is don't fall into that trap. You have got to put yourselves on the list. You might have a lot of things to do, but first, I want you to think about the things to be. So every day, my intention is to be better that day than I was before. And what that means is that for you, I say to you, whatever it is that you see yourselves wanting to be, the first thing you got to be is well. You've got to be healthy and well. And then you've got to be love. And you've got to be compassion. And you've got to be kindness. Because without those things, we can't go very far. On my walk from the beginning of this hall over to this room, one of the things that struck me as odd, or certainly as I was a little uncomfortable about it, was that here I am at the Congressional Black Caucus. And as you walk through the halls, people are not even speaking to each other. All right?
Go ahead and tell the truth.
We didn't speak. You know, I would smile. My mama taught me to smile and say hello and good morning and good afternoon.
That's right.
It's the right thing to do. So as we talk about loving each other, when we come to the Congressional Black Caucus and to the places where black folks gather, start loving each other.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rowe.
We've got to love each other. And the way you do that is you love yourself first. You love yourself first. So we start taking care of ourselves from the inside out. It doesn't matter what your clothes are, what kind of clothes you wear. It doesn't matter where you live, what you drive, you know, whatever it is, whatever titles you have or seek to have. It's about what's on the inside first. That's what really makes the person.
And that's a great segue right there, Dr. Rowe. Outstanding. Thank you so much. Okay. We just want to take a moment, too, to just thank some of the women who are doing the work on the ground daily. We've already recognized Dr. Lorraine Cole from the YWCA, the National YWCA. We just had beautiful Lady Cora Masters Berry walking here nice and late. God bless you. We have Janice Farabee here from Got It Going On, still holding up the mantle at the National Council for Negro Women, doing awesome work. And I saw Miss Diane Booker creep in here from the U.S. Dream Academy. Did I see you from the U.S. Dream Academy doing outstanding work? Please stand, Diane Booker, executive over at the U.S. Dream Academy, doing awesome work with girls and women of color every day. I want to shift gears real quick before we go to our Q&A. And I want to ask you all, and give it to me in 2 minutes, if there was something that someone could have told you when you were a girl that you wish that you knew now, something that someone could have told you, what would that thing be? And I'm talking candid. I'm talking something that would have shifted your gear as you were about to jump into something. I wish that someone would have told me that, and I talk about it in my book, I wish that someone would have told me that boys can never fill the space of the first man in your life, which is your father. I wish someone could have told me that, because I'm one of those fatherless girls. I'm one of those ones whose father was a boy himself. And so he wasn't equipped to be a man, whereas my mother, some kind of way, sped up her process of maturity and became a woman instantly to be my mother, but he couldn't instantaneously become a man. And so I wish someone would have told me that please don't put your hopes and dreams and hearts and breasts and bottom and waist and one nipple in the hands of a boy.
Right, right. There you go.
Because he cannot replace the first man who should have held you, who should have told you that they love you. That's the thing I wish I would have known. Up here, Malak, what do you wish the one thing that someone would have told you that would have shifted your gears?
I think I chose my life's work because I wish someone would have told me that I am a global citizen. I wish someone would have told me that I'm not just the product of my neighborhood. I wish someone would have told me that I have the right to think critically about issues that affect us locally, as Americans, and as our global world. I very much believe that it takes a village to raise a child. And people often ask me, why I run programs in South Africa, or why I'm building a school in Ghana, or why I'm building a school in Sierra Leone when there's so much need here. And I just say that I hold babies and support babies wherever they are. We are a global world, and if we don't believe that and think that way, can be really, really detrimental. So I wish that someone would have told me when I was younger that I am a global child. I am a citizen of this world.
Thank you so much. Dr. Malvo, the one thing you wish someone would have shared with you?
I wish someone had told me to enjoy the journey. I come from a family that's extraordinarily achievement-oriented. I had my undergraduate degree when I was 20, had a doctorate by the time I was 26, I've written books, done this, done that, and a lot of it has been about going to do the next achievement. And I wish someone had just said, slow down a little bit. Enjoy the journey, because you miss a lot along the way. I mean, you talk about folks in the halls, Dr. Rowe. Saw a sister in the hall, and she says, you don't remember me from junior high school. And I'm like, what kind of hurry was I in when I saw that I did not stop to remember this person? You know, what kind of hurry was I in that I sometimes may have overlooked somebody? But I wish someone just said, you know, take a minute to enjoy the journey, because, you know, if you are, as Sue always says, you know, if you're divinely ordered to achieve, you will achieve. You know, but you might have moved a little differently and rolled a little differently if you looked around at the scenery and some of the things that were there while you were doing the achievements. I don't regret any achievement, but I do regret some of the rush.
That's excellent. And that, can you guys relate to that? Can you understand that? Everything I'm asked to sign, I always say, trust the process. Even if it doesn't feel good, trust the process, because you're going to be better on the other side of it. Dr. Rowe, what do you wish that someone would have told you?
I wish someone had told me that thoughts are energy. And so when a thought occurs to you that you're not good enough or you can't do something, you give it energy by giving into it. I wish someone had told me that. And I consider myself a person of relatively high self-esteem. But even in those shoes, there have been times in my life when I thought I couldn't. And just when I thought I couldn't, of course I didn't.
My God, thank you. Now, Jasmine, you're in a good space. And if there was something, you know, even at 20, that you wish somebody would come clean, keep it real, tell the truth, you know, take off the church hat and say something, what do you wish they would share with you, Jazz?
Well, what I would tell my younger self is that I don't know it all. I know that when I was 13, that was a really detrimental year for me. I got involved with this little boy at school, and it was the reason why my father put me in Garrison Forest School for Girls. And
he sure did.
So just like that, it happened instantly. But I definitely thank him for that, and I wish I thank him for that, because I just thought I knew it all. I just thought I had it all together. I thought, you know, we were in love. We were going to get married. We were going to be together forever. My dad didn't know what he was talking about. Everybody was wrong. Like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it the way I know how to do it, because then nobody else understands, and I'm the only one who understands, because I'm the only one walking in my shoes, or whatever shoes those may have been at the time. But I just wish somebody would have told me, definitely, you don't know it all. You don't have it all together. You're still growing. You're still learning. It's still a lot that you have to accomplish, and still a lot you have to see, because now I look at my 13-year-old self like she was crazy as I don't know what. I'm glad I got out of that. But you see, I had to open up my mindset, and I had to be put in different environments to really realize that it was a lot more in store for me in my life, and that it was still a lot growing for me.
Thank you so much, Jasmine Watson Booth. We're going to take a couple of questions, but the last thing I want to ask, and I'm going to ask this to whomever feels comfortable answering this. Of course, I have the person that I think would be comfortable answering, that would be a good response. But quickly, how do you still maintain yourself and grow yourself when you're attached to someone who's known? Someone, and Dr. Malvo and Malak.
I wonder who should answer that.
Wait. How do you grow yourself and maintain yourself and still live your dream and grow as a woman when you're attached to institutions, people, and places that already have a brand, that already have a reputation? How do you find yourself in that space and still grow?
I'm gonna let you go first. Okay. That's a good question. Thank you for asking that. You know, one reason why I decided to open up Journey for Change to not just girls and boys, I mean, not just girls, but to also include boys, because I do believe that we have to nourish the girl child. I do believe that when we nourish the girl child, we're nourishing a future woman. We could then nourish our communities, our country, our world. We do have to start with our girl children. However, one of the reasons why I did open it up to boys is because I also want to grow our boys so that our girl children have somebody to be with that's going to be respectful of them and understand what it is to be a woman and respect that in them. And I have that in my husband, actually. I have that in my husband. We've been married 15 years, if you were talking about Chris Rock, as the known person. And my husband is the father to my children that I wish I had. And speaking to you girls in terms of choosing your mates, I didn't care what he looked like. I didn't care where he came from. I didn't care about degrees. I didn't care about anything. I cared about how he respected his mother and how he respected his siblings and his family. I'm a graduate of Howard University. My husband dropped out of school. If you would have told me at Howard if I would have married somebody that did not even have a college degree, let alone a high school degree, I would have told you no way. But as I got older and I learned what was important in a mate, what was important is the caliber of their character. And my husband is the oldest of 7 boys. His father, who is deceased now, was the oldest of 15. And the respect that they have for the women in their family is just outstanding. And when I figured that out, I was like, I want him. That's what I care about. And this, by the way, 15 years ago, so it was before the fame
That's right.
and the money that my husband, has now. This was me understanding that this boy from Bed-Stuy, the son of a truck driver, is the person that I want to be my husband. Because he's such an extraordinary father, he understands that mommy has to be happy. And mommy can only be happy when I serve. That is what feeds my soul. Right. So when I am in Ghana building a school for child slaves, or I am in Sierra Leone erecting a school that was torn down because of war, when I'm in South Africa holding babies who have been affected, orphaned and vulnerable children who have been affected because of the HIV/AIDS crisis in South Africa, or when I'm in Brooklyn almost every weekend, not just running this program, but on the ground with the youth that we serve. Who's at home taking care of my children? My husband.
That's right.
Who's at home? Who's doing pickup today? My husband.
That's right.
So he is a tremendous support, and I just say to you women that you have the ability to pick the mate that you deserve, and you deserve the best.
I love it.
Thank you so much. I wish that we had another hour because there's so many more questions I have for this panel here. I have so many questions, but I don't want to rob you of your opportunity to pose questions to them as well, because we do want feedback from you all. If you could make your way to the microphone, we would especially love to see some young women take to the microphone. And please, testimony service will be held on Sunday. So, and this ain't a joke, testimony will be held on Sunday. So for those of you who are seasoned, and the other thing, what did you call them, Ro? Dr. Malvo said seasoned sisters. What did you call them? Old heads. I like Ro. Ro said old heads. We're going to reserve this moment for you to pose questions to this panel. And again, we don't want you to leave because we're going to be really blessed at 3:15 to have Miss Valerie Jarrett, who's the senior advisor to President Barack Obama. She's going to be speaking and a part of this second amazing panel of women that we have for the second panel. You think this was amazing. The second panel was amazing. Questions, you all. Questions. I know you have some questions
Michelle,
for these women. Please come to the microphone if you have questions.
If you have folks lining up for questions, let me just throw one
Sure,
thing into
sure,
what
Dr.
Malak
Malvo.
said, because I really love that. The bottom line is the way you stay true to yourself is you keep some of yourself
For yourself.
yourself.
There it is.
So that you don't give it all away.
That's right.
I mean, all whatever that is.
That's right.
And I'm not talking necessarily physical. When I went to Bennett College for Women, I had been writing a column since 1990. I was so into this image of what a college president is supposed to be. I tried to clean up my act, y'all. Didn't work, but I tried. But then I didn't write for a year, and I was miserable. I mean, I was literally, utterly, I was like, what do you mean I can't write? And finally I called NMPA back and said, I want my column back. It takes me a couple hours a week, but it makes me feel like the writer I am that I was before I went to Bennett, that I will be when I leave Bennett. But you had to keep that little piece of myself for yourself. So you find out what feeds your soul, as our sister has said, and keep that for yourself. It doesn't belong to everybody.
That's right. You have a question? Thank you so much, Dr. Malvo. You come from Paris.
Give me some sound.
We need some sound right here. We have. Oh, I want to hear everything you're saying.
Come up here. It's never
Come up here, beloved. Can you just step up here?
Come up here.
Quickly, because I don't want to miss this.
Or she can.
Did he? Is it on? Can you come up here quickly? I speak Spanish. I wish I spoke French. Come on up here. You know what? Use one of those right there, beloved. Thank you.
Hi.
You come from Paris. Say it all over
Yes,
again.
we come from Paris. It's a great pleasure for us to come to Change with you. And,
Thank you so much.
And I just want to tell you, when you are a woman and we are a black woman in France, in Europe, it's very difficult. You blessing us with the election of President Barack Obama. So we are here because we need your help. We created one association we call European Diversity Caucus to honor you, and we want to know how you can help us in France, in Europe, to be very lobbying for black people. I'm a president of this association, and I come here with a delegation.
Where's your delegation? Please stand if you're with the delegation.
Some girls are here.
Some of you are here?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. How can we help you with your women in Paris?
Yes.
Please make sure that we get your information. Make sure that you reach out to these partners. Make sure you speak with Malak and Dr. Malvo and Dr. Rowe.
Yeah.
Please make sure you speak with me. And we're not saying this because you have a microphone. Yeah. We're clear that you need us, and we need you as well, because when we travel, we want to get welcomed when we come to Paris.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. We want to be a part of the solution.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Please, quickly, we want to hear from you, Jay.
Hello.
Jay was on the show with us with National Public Radio the other day. Okay.
Hi, I'm Janetha McNair. I'm the superintendent of the largest female detention center for juveniles in the state of Maryland. And the program model for my girls is Growing Great Girls. And we have 3 core values: connect, protect, and respect, right? And I go in there every day armed for battle to protect these little girls, the majority of whom look just like me. And all of them are disadvantaged somehow. As a mother of 2 girls, my girls are 19 and 23, and thank God that they've had me, because I was going to kick whatever door down I needed to make sure that they were safe and successful. So I'm charged every day to ensure that same feeling of acceptance and love for these little girls, right? Because that's what they are, even though some of them are mothers and have their own little girls. My question to the panel is, how do we set the community on fire enough to connect with my girls, to protect my girls, and to respect them? Because they come out of these violent communities.
Jay, we're going to stop right there because that's an amazing question. How do we do those things? Because these girls are incarcerated.
Absolutely.
And they're the forgotten at times.
And we do Dare to be Queen. Thank you very much.
Excellent, excellent. You Dare to be Queen.
We
That's
do it,
another
absolutely.
curriculum. Please, someone chime in quickly and answer that. How do we fire the community up to speak to the girls who are incarcerated? Not just speak to them, but give them palpable resources, things tangible they can touch and feel and do. How do we do that? How do we do that?
You know, that's such a powerful question, because while we look at the incarceration of our males, the fact is that black female incarceration has increased 8-fold in a decade.
My God.
8-fold. What the community has to remember is that those are mothers of children that are going to be out in the street. So that our love for them is not just love for them, it's love for community. We have to continue to reinforce their sense of self-worth.
That's right.
And Sue was talking, I keep referencing her, so she really needs to be here, but Sue was talking about the book. If it's as little as just giving folks a book or 2, a Bible, things that let them know not only that people care, but that people are invested in their success. We have to invest. It's all the things we said about mentorship earlier, but it's magnified because of the conditions of incarceration.
Thank you so much. Quickly, we want to thank you so much, Dr. Malvo, for that.
Yes, my name is Lovely Thornton. I'm the Director of Assessment at Howard University in the School of Pharmacy and also an adjunct professor at Towson University.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. My main concern as I work with young people for the last 35 years is to continue to encourage young ladies. And what I've encountered, and which I would like for the panel to give me additional information of how can I instill in young ladies that their mere presence alone demand respect.
That's awesome. You don't even have to say nothing else, Lovely. You don't have to say nothing else. Their mere presence. And please, somebody jump in. How do you show them that their presence alone demands respect? How do you do that? Ro, you want to chime in on that?
I think the first thing is you have to lead by example. You know, children or young people have to see to be. I'm not going to, call you children, but for young folks, they have to see to be, and I think we have to lead by example. And in leading, meaning being that, embodying that, which I'm sure you already do, but they've got to catch on to that, and then the message to them is to value themselves, But I think I got it first by looking at it in my mother and other women, my teachers and other women in my life. We've got to give it to them by being that.
And I think one of the things we can say, and I want to hear from this young person right here, Lovely, if you don't mind.
Thank you very much.
We thank you for your service for 35 years. We thank you for your service for 35 years. But you said we have to value ourselves. And I write about this. If the woman that's raising you cannot give you what you need, not because she's not a good person, not because she doesn't have good intention, but if she's never seen a healthy daughter-mother relationship, if she's never seen someone, and Susan talked about her, if she ain't never been hugged, I doubt that she'll hug you unless her paradigm shifts. And how does it shift? From having contact with someone who hugged her. So sometimes the folks who will impact your lives to value you won't be the people living in your house. That's true. Okay? And let's not indict them for that. Let's love them through that, but let's get it from wherever we got to get it from. Right here, your question. Go ahead, Malak.
I think it's so important for all the service providers and NGO leaders who are in the house when you're running these programs for youth that you try desperately to include the mothers and the fathers in that process. So many of our programs, are focused on the youth, but we're leaving out the people who they go home to. So I think that's a critical part of service providers that we need to start focusing on.
Thank you, Malak. Right here.
I'm Brianna Fauntleroy from Baltimore Freedom Academy.
Thank you for being here, Brianna Fauntleroy from Baltimore Freedom Academy. Baltimore in the building. I had to say that because we are in a building. I had to say that, Brianna.
My question is for the young ladies that don't have fathers and can't seem to find mentors that are actually mentoring them in the right way. What do we do?
What do you do? That's a great question, Brianna.
I grew up without a father.
Okay, Ro. Ro said, I can answer this one. I grew up without a father.
I had a collective father. My mother was a single parent who, by the way, died when I was 9 and knew she was going to die because she discovered she had cancer the same year she had me. So she put this plan of action in place where she asked her best friend to take over for her when her time would come, and her best friend became my guardian, thank God. Having said that, though, her brothers became my collective father, so my uncles became my father. And I'll tell you something, my mother died when I was 9. I was 11 years old before I realized I didn't have a father. I had a cousin who discovered she was adopted by my uncle and aunt, and she says to me, and she was really upset about it, and we go to, do family, care for her, and she says to me, sitting on the side of the bed, yeah, you need to find out who your father is, too. And I go downstairs, and my uncle is there making a sandwich, and I rush in the kitchen. I say, yeah, and I want to find out who my father is, too, And he said, without even looking up, he spreaded the mayonnaise on a piece of bread and slapped it together and said, I don't know why, he never did a damn thing for you. Ooh. And walked on out the door, excuse my language. But and at that point, I turned around, and having one or not having one didn't matter to me anymore. And the reason is because, as Michelle said earlier, we have to get in where we fit in. Wherever you find love, that's all that matters.
And then, Roland, there's a caveat to that, though. And again, and I'm not promoting anything, but I talk about this extensively. You have to find it, but please be careful of friendly predators in the process.
Yeah.
Because there will be those who know that you're looking for that father, that you're looking for that love, Brianna. Men and older boys who know that you want that love, and they'll see it on you, and they will hurt you in the process. These are friendly predators. People who might have the same last name as you. People who might go to your church. People who say, well, I'm just going to come over and pray with you, and the prayer turns into something uncomfortable, Brianna. And I want you to be real clear that that's not a mentor, and that's not a person who wants to be your daddy. That's a predator. So please be aware, all of you, of friendly predators, and don't let them disguise themselves as people who care for you, okay? Thank you so much, Brianna, for the question.
We'll talk after this about what real love looks like.
Brianna, I'll be your mentor, all right? All right?
Did you hear that, Brianna? Did you hear that, Brianna? You go back to Baltimore Freedom Academy. You tell them that Congressman Elijah Cummings is your mentor. You go back and you tell them, because listen to what Brianna did. That's advocacy for self. You get what you ask for. You hear that, young ladies? You get what you ask for. If you ask for drama, you're going to get some drama. If you ask for help, you're going to get some help. You go ahead and cry, baby, because that's all right. You get what you asked for. You tell all of them, oh, I got a mentor, and he's a congressman. He's friends with President Barack Obama. He sits with Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. He's friends with heads of states. And I'm going to Israel. I'm putting it out there. I went too far, didn't I? Did I go too far?
Yeah.
Did I go too far?
You crossed the line.
Say,
I can't.
See, I'm putting my Israel trip on layaway. I'm putting
I can't.
Putting on layaway. Ro, you ain't saying nothing. You ain't saying nothing, Ro. Right here.
I can't.
Malak said, did you hear that, Brianna? See, y'all don't understand. There's something happening when you ask for something. Yes. Malak Compton Rock, Brianna said, if you want to go to Israel, she will pay for it. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Brianna? Because you asked for it. You put it in the universe. And he thought it not robbery. Y'all don't understand what's happening here today. This is young people saying, I want more. I want better. And Congressman Elijah Cummings is going to take you to Israel, and Malak Compton Rock going to pay for it. Honey, you go back to school and say, I'm going to Israel for a month.
Wait a minute, now you need to stop.
Shalom.
You need to stop.
Shalom. You're going to come back speaking Yiddish. Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila ve'nismecha. You're going to come back. We're going to keep this thing moving. Y'all ain't ready.
And how many of them are we going to move in with you so they can get this around the clock? See?
What's your question? What's your question?
Hi, my name is Janae. I go to New Era in Baltimore, Maryland.
Say it again, Janae.
I go to New Era in Baltimore, Maryland.
And I'm going to need you to take your hand off
Are
your
you
imagination.
tired? Are you
there
tired?
You go.
Are you
you're
weary?
Beautiful. Come on, Janae. This ain't nothing but family.
I have a question for
Now, don't ask for no trips because you saw Brianna get a trip. Don't get slick, Janae. Where you from?
Baltimore.
You from Baltimore? You know I know how we do it. Don't come up here talking about, well, since y'all gonna go ahead and hook Brianna up, I'm trying to get the same package. I'm kidding. Please.
I have a question for you.
Okay. Jasmine?
Jasmine.
Okay.
Was it hard avoiding temptations to lose your virginity?
That's a great question. That's a
Wow,
great
that's
question. Did y'all hear that?
Great question.
She said, was it hard to deal with the temptation of losing your virginity? Everybody listen, especially the young men in here today. Please listen. Please listen. Jasmine, answer that question.
Yes, it was really hard. And sometimes, honestly, it would be painful. You don't understand, like, in high school, I had people who would make bets, see if they could get my virginity with their friends, and people would make comments. You know, I'm in college now, and some people still don't understand I'm a virgin and why I made the choices that I've made. And so sometimes it is hard, but other times it's more so painful. But it's those types of remarks and those type of people that I just won't succumb to.
Why is it painful, Jasmine?
It's painful to have somebody make bets just to, try to get to know you just to get your virginity. Or if they find out you're a virgin, oh, jackpot. Yeah, it's like I'm more than that. And you can talk to me as much as you want, but that doesn't mean you're going to get anything from me. And what, I guess, and because I did have 2 fathers in my life, that self-esteem really came into play for me, and I'm really blessed to have that. But I use all those people, all those negative people who try to come at me, even my girlfriend, some girlfriends I've had who like to make snide remarks and everything like that. And I just say, I'm going to be me. Everybody else out here can lose their virginity, but I'm going to be the one that still has mine. And I'm going to be happy with it. And I'm going to be different. And there's nothing wrong with being different. I've been different my whole life. And it's doing me pretty good so far, so I'm going to stick with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Janae, and you know
Thanks
what's
for the
awesome
question.
about being a virgin? You can't get HIV.
Right. No pregnancy.
You can't
no
get
HIV,
pregnant.
no STD.
Virginity is better than condoms any day, all day. You understand that, Janae?
And that's another thing. That's another thing why I still remain a virgin. I love myself way too much to risk any of these diseases. None of these boys are worth it. I promise you. I promise all of y'all. They're not worth it at all.
And when he is worth it, he could be the truck driver's son, and
Right.
you can marry him.
Right.
And y'all can have some babies. Thank you, Janae. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is LaKara Abraham. I'm 10 years old. I go to BFA Freedom. I go to Baltimore Freedom Academy.
That's all right.
My question is for all of y'all. Where do you all get your inspiration?
It's a great question. My God.
Great question.
Please answer that,
Okay.
Dr. Malvo, Dr. Rowe, Jasmine, Malak. Where do you get your inspiration? I want to thank you for asking that question.
That is a great question.
At 10 years old. You know, it's grown folk that ain't inspired to ask questions like that. They mad at you because you got some inspiration. You want to know how to get some. Somebody help her get some inspiration.
I want to tell you the story of Free Frank McWater.
It's a story, Dr. Malvo?
It's a very short story.
Oh, I thank God for shortness.
Free Frank McWater is a slave who bought himself.
There you go.
Free Frank McWater is a slave who bought himself. Why do I tell you this story? Because you have all these black folks who talk about the obstacles that we face. There are no obstacles like the obstacles we have already faced. When I say a slave bought himself, I want everybody's stomach to knot up.
Yes.
It ought to, because it's a counterintuitive act
Yes.
of purchasing yourself. But imagine how strongly Free Frank wanted freedom. I mean, you cut a deal with Massa. Now, cutting a deal with Massa is like dealing with the devil, because Massa can change his mind. But not only did Free Frank buy himself, he bought 13 of his relatives. And when he died, his estate was used to buy 7 more. So when I think about can't do, I think Free Frank. When I think can't do, I think Dorothy Irene Height. I think Madam C.J. Walker. Our history gives me constant inspiration. Thank you so much for the question.
Thank you for the question. Now, we're getting short on time, and we want to move with the next panel. Now, we want you to know that your questions can be asked at the second panel. We want you to stay. Mrs. Jarrett is here. Our panelists are all here waiting to bless you guys today, and so we want you to stay put. But this last question, can we take your question, please, from the Baltimore Freedom Academy?
Hi, my name is Jakara Waters, and I'm from Baltimore Freedom Academy, too. And my question is for all of you, and it's, was it hard journeys to get where you're at right now?
Was
yes,
it a hard
Lord.
journey? Was it a hard? Dr. Rose said yes, Lord. Not just yes, but yes, Lord. For the rest of our days.
None of this is easy. My mother died at 9. I don't want to sound like a victim, but and as a result, I moved to the Southeast Projects in Washington, D.C. Hey, what's up, Tennis Center? I moved to the Southeast Projects where I thought it was an altar world, None of this is easy. Yes, it was all hard, but I wouldn't take nothing for my journey, as they say.
That's all right.
I wouldn't take nothing for my journey. Honest to God, I am so grateful to be sitting here. I am grateful for the blessing of being able to connect with you. I am grateful for the work that I get to do every single day of my life. And I well up just thinking about it. It was hard, but it was so worth it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we're going to take these last 2 because we do want to hear from you. But just to answer your question, I don't know if you heard in the beginning, I'm the daughter of a teen mother. I was supposed to repeat the cycle. I was supposed to have babies by the time I was 15. I was supposed to not finish high school. I was supposed to not go to college. I sure wasn't supposed to be admitted into a doctorate program. And I wasn't supposed to get married and have children by the same man and be with him for 11 years next month and celebrate being a wife, a mother, and get to live my dream as a stand-up comedian? Was it hard? It was absolutely not supposed to happen. And so I want you to trust the process. Whatever it is, whatever it looks like, trust the process, because it's going to be your story that gets you from where you are today to where you're destined to be. Thank you for that question. Last two quickly, and then we're going to open up the second panel.
Hi, my name is Ebony Marcus. I attend Laurel High School, and I'm a member of Lovely Ladies of Laurel.
All right.
And I maintain a 4.0 GPA.
That's right.
And
that's right. Y'all better be on your feet. Now, if this was a Redskins game, y'all would be on your feet. She says she's 18 and she has a 4.0. Y'all don't understand. If this was a game and we want a touchdown, you would be on your feet. This is what they need to see so they know that a 4.0 is an awesome thing. I'm sorry. I get excited about excellence. I don't know about nobody else, but I get excited about excellence.
So my question is, I had some friends that were in my mentoring program too, but they basically didn't have the right grades, they weren't doing the right things, they weren't being respectful. So now I've been friends with them since about 7th grade, and I don't want to lose them as friends, and it's like peer pressure on whether to do the things that they do or to stay where I'm at. So I'm kind of confused.
Baby girl, you will be known by the company you keep. Keep it moving. Those are some young people. Keep it moving. You may love them from a distance. Keep Everybody does not need to have a front row seat in your life.
That's right.
So when you see them, you wave. You know, have them by the house with a lot of chaperones. You have transcended that.
Yeah. Keep it moving. You win some, you lose some.
Jasmine, chime in on that real quick with the peer pressure.
If I get there before you do, I'm obligated to bore a hole and pull you through. Okay. So you can try to instill in them all the lessons that you've learned. You can continue trying. You're not going to let them stop you from stepping in the right direction, but you can continue to try.
That's excellent. Jasmine, real quick, chime in on that because you've been
there. You will be known for the company.
Ro, slide that over to Jasmine quickly. Thank you.
I'm just going to comment real quick because I've experienced this firsthand. I realized that through my journey, and now that I'm in college, I have friends who aren't in college who really aren't home doing anything. And I try to remain humble because I realize that I'm privileged. You're privileged to be in the position you are, maintaining your 4.0 GPA. And you don't want to, you don't want to put somebody out, but at the same time, like she said, the company you keep is very important. And like my friends now, we all are very like-minded individuals, and we stay away from the foolishness, and that will ultimately help you. It will keep you healthy, it will keep you safe, and it will keep you going on the right path. So
thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
The last question.
Good afternoon. My name is Monica Smith. I live in Bowie, Maryland. And again, I just thank all the panelists today. We all understand the importance of mentoring. I'm a church-going woman, and every Sunday I see droves of women coming down to the altar, kids in hand, just pouring out whatever hurt, whatever burdens they've had, and there's a sense of apathy when it comes to mentoring because women feel like if they haven't arrived as such, they're not in a position to give back. And so I really would hope that the panelists can speak to that in terms of the importance of connecting.
That's a great question, and we have a panelist on the next panel who can really speak to that. She's a minister, and she's also the founder of an amazing organization called Sisters Together and Reaching. That's doing awesome work with a lot of things, but I think it'd be great for her to speak to that. All of us have walked by a church, been in a church, know some church folk, maybe been dipped a couple times. But at the some of us been dipped right before we came here because we didn't feel like we were worthy. But look, that's not the point. The point is that that's a valid question, and I would love to acquiesce that to the next panel. If you don't mind, please stay seated, and then we'll bring our next panelist up, and we'll bring up a very special guest for you today. We're excited that she's here. Please take a moment to look at this walk-away card that you have, and don't leave because the next panel is starting. We want to thank our partners, folks who are doing the work on the ground, the YWCA, National Cares Mentoring Movement, Girl Scouts of Central Maryland, Sisters Together and Reaching, Baltimore Rising, the Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women, Empowering Minds of Maryland, Studio A Modeling, Etiquette and Dance Theater, Center for Violence Prevention at Johns Hopkins University, National Cares Mentoring Movement, Institute for Interactive Instruction, the Mentoring Center, Center, Mentor National Mentoring Partnership, and Fairby Enterprises International Global Female Empowerment. We want to thank them for doing the work daily on the ground with our girls and women of color. Please stay seated because our next panel is starting immediately, and Mrs. Valerie Jarrett is here today, and we are so excited that she's with us today. So please, if you can stay, please stay. Thank you, Congressman Cummings. Thank you, Dr. Malvo. Thank you, Malak Compton Rock, Dr. Rowe, and Jasmine Watson Booth. Please keep your...
I think it is. Can you guys hear me? Is this working? Yeah. I use this. Then I feel like I can walk around a little bit. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How you guys doing?
Good.
You excited to be here for CBC Weekend?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I am so happy to be with you. Before I start, Congressman, I don't get a chance very often to say publicly how I feel about you. We've had a chance to get to know each other since the president has been in office, and I just want you all to know that we have a congressman here whose goodwill, spirit, commitment, and really who defines public servant. And so I want to publicly have a chance to thank you for your contribution, not just, of course, to your district, which you represent so ably, but to the entire United States of America. We are in good hands with him. So give him a round of applause. To the panel, impressive as they are, and to all the young folks in the audience, I asked coming in, I said, how many young people are there? Because I really always like to speak to the young people, because when I came out of law school, and it's been a little while since I came out of law school. Why are you laughing? Seems like somebody was laughing in there. Okay, so it's been a few years. But when I came out of law school, I didn't have a lot of role models. I'm the first woman in my family who is a lawyer. And so everybody was very proud of me, but I didn't have a lot of role models. And so I'm hoping that the young folks who are here today and here throughout the weekend know that we are here to try to make your road a little easier than our road was. And I often give speeches to young folks about all of the lessons that I learned, many of them the hard way along the way. And what I really want you to know is it's supposed to be hard. The person who asked the question, is it hard? Yes, it's really, really hard. But part of what you learn, and this is one of the lessons I learned from both my mother and my grandmother, is that anything worth having is worth working very hard for. Anything. And nothing really, really good is easy. The path is difficult, and you have to be resilient, you have to be strong, you have to believe in yourself. And I also, of course, bring you greetings from the person who worked really hard to get where he is, and that's President Obama. So I always, when I was young, I would think about trying for something, and my mother would say, I promise you, if you don't try, you will not get it. And that there is no shame in falling short as long as you aim high. And so as you think about young folks in this room, your life, your incredible life that you have in front of you, I want you to know that the sky is the limit, and I want you to reach for the stars, and I want you, when you do that, to look at the people who are younger than you. Because even though you may seem young, there's someone who's coming along behind you. And what we have to do is always look back. And so when I think, again, when I came out of law school, there were no people at my law firm that looked like me. There were no women mentors, there were no African-American men, there was just me. And so I had to do a lot of it the hard way. But along the way, I can remember that I practiced law for about 6 years, and I used to look outside of my beautiful window in my law firm office and think that I should be doing what I was doing there. But it wasn't really what was making me happy. And so I had to look into myself, and really to thine own self be true. You have to figure out what works for you. And that's when I joined the public sector. We've had this conversation, and I worked for the first African-American mayor of the city of Chicago, and I learned on the ground what it was to represent people who really were in need. And I think that that experience helped me do what I do today. The fact that the president began as a community organizer on the south side of Chicago prepared him for what he is doing today. And so the route is not always the direct route. Sometimes it's a circuitous route. And sometimes you get a lot further by taking that circuitous route. Because I think if I'd stayed in that law firm, I promise you I wouldn't have been invited to speak to you guys today. So take a chance, take a risk, and find somebody who you can really look up to. And talk to that person. You'd be amazed how many people want to be mentors if you just ask them. Yeah, right. Don't be afraid to ask them. Walk right up to somebody and ask for their advice. And I think, again, to the older folks in the room, when somebody knocks on your door, open that door. And be generous in spirit. There's nobody who embodies that more than our First Lady. And what she has done is create a mentorship program for young girls in the White House. And it began very early in the administration. She invited young high school kids, I shouldn't call them kids, young women, to come to the White House from the schools around the D.C. area. And some of those girls, this may not surprise you, when they walked into the White House, they were so scared they started to cry. Never been to the White House before, never dreamed of having an invitation to the White House. And the First Lady said to them, "You're here because your teacher said that you were special, and that she saw potential in you. And if she sees potential in you, that I see potential in you." And so we had dinner. We had some very talented women from around the country come in and sit with each of those women. And when they left, the First Lady hugged each and every woman as she went out the door. And she whispered something different to every woman. I'm not sure what she said, but I can tell you, every one of them walked out with their head just a little higher. Just a little higher. One evening changed their lives. And so what I'm saying, my message in that is it doesn't often take much. And if you would just make room in your heart and in your life to just touch one person, touch a second person, touch a third person. This is retail. Mentorship is retail. You can talk to a group like this, and sometimes you can get through, but it is in that relationship, in that continuation over time, that you can really make a difference. One of my responsibilities that I enjoy the most is chairing the White House Council of Women and Girls. And our mission through that council is to figure out what we can do to lift up women and girls and improve the quality of their lives across the federal government. So today, for example, I had an op-ed letter in the Washington Post that talked about paycheck fairness for women. Women still earn 77 cents on the dollar. Women of color, even less. So we have to figure out what we're going to do to look out for one another as well. When I was in the workplace, oftentimes early on, women really tried to hold other women down. I think that's changed. I think we've made a lot of progress. I think women are beginning to understand that we can be supportive of one another, and you don't have to be the only woman in the room. But it's important for you to think along those lines because there's still a lot of inequity out there. But if we're working together, we can change it. And so I want you to know that on behalf of the President, each and every day, we are trying to figure out how to improve your lives. But it has to be a partnership. And that's the other part of my message to you today, is that we've got to figure out how we can work together. This forum, Congressman, is terrific. To have young girls be able to stand up at a podium, proud and strong and confident to ask a question and brag about their GPA. When I was in school, oftentimes it was unpopular to be good in school, right? The smart kids were the nerds. There's no shame in being smart, young ladies. No shame at all. You should be proud of what you're accomplishing and what you're able to do. And we as a community have to give you the support you need. I always say that there's nothing wrong with the children. Sometimes the adults have some problems. Nothing wrong with our beautiful children. And one of the president's, as a congressman knows, one of his top agenda items is to improve the quality of our public school system. For far too long, we have not rewarded excellence. We have to figure out how to realign our system so that we are producing children who will be able to compete in a global marketplace. Children who take pride in their accomplishments, who are nurtured and who are taught and who are engaged and who develop a lifelong love of learning. And so for the young people, I want you to get into school and I want you to be proud of your accomplishments. And for us who are a little bit older, let's figure out how we can support them. Too many of our children, when they get out of school, they get in trouble. And those hours between 3 and 7 are dangerous hours. I'm from Chicago. Right now, the number of children in Chicago who are being killed with unbelievable gun violence, often it's the honor student. It's the unintended victim who is struck down in the prime of life. And so figuring out how we can have programs to help people during that hour from 3 to 7 is really important as well. And so again, it was very important for me to come here because anything the congressman asked me to do, I try to do. But when he described the forum and he said it was going to be a forum of women who were focusing on mentorship, I want you to know how important it is, beginning with the president and the first lady of our country. But you, every single one of you in this room, every one of you can be a mentor. So make a difference. Thank you very much.